Hey there, it's Lynn from Always Moving Mommy. I want to talk about road trips today. And I didn't realize until a few years ago, talking to a couple of friends who grew up in a different part of the country from me, that road trips are not a thing for everybody. So I grew up in Michigan in the Midwest, and road trips were a thing. We did not get on an airplane to go on vacation. Like, we got in the car and drove multiple hours to go on a vacation. So I did not realize that was not a thing for everybody. But if you are planning an upcoming road trip, I want to share a few tips with you and some things to think about that you can use during the planning phase of your road trip. And if you have tips and suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comments so that we can all learn from each other. I also have a lot more over on the blog, alwaysmovingmommy.com, that you can go check out over there. So first off, think about the time of the year that you are trying to plan this road trip. Are you comfortable driving in ice and snow if you're going somewhere where that weather would be a problem? If you're not familiar with it or not comfortable with it, you either need to plan your road trip to avoid those areas or plan it for a different time of the year when that's not an issue for you. So definitely think about when you're going to go. Also think about seasonally, does the air conditioner work well? Does the heater work well? If those are going to be things that you need to think about, plan your trip accordingly as well. Also think about who's going while you're planning this road trip. Is it something where you're going to have to stop multiple times because you have young children, because you have somebody who needs to get out and stretch their legs and move around every couple of hours? You don't want to plan a very aggressive road trip where you're going to be in the car 12 hours a day to get to your next destination. If in fact, the people that you're traveling with need to make multiple stops a day, and your 12-hour day might turn into a 14 or 16 or 18-hour day, and then you find yourself multiple days behind because you just can't stick to that schedule. Make sure that you do set a realistic schedule as well. If at the very least, your plan for your road trip should be some kind of a destination. You may not have every spot and stop picked out along the way, and that's okay. Go with the flow, drive, see how long it takes you wherever you get. When you're feeling tired or worn out, or if you see something great, go ahead and stop if that's your vibe. If you would rather, no, today I'm going to drive 4 hours, we're going to stop here, this is where we're staying, this is what we're doing, that's okay too. There's no wrong way to do a road trip. Just know your plans and what makes you comfortable doing them. Also think about your budget. Is it going to be easier and cheaper for you to do a road trip, or is it going to be easier and cheaper to get a plane ticket and go do that? Is it going to be easier and cheaper to get your vehicle serviced, put the miles on your car, buy gas, get your AAA membership renewed, all of those things? Or is it going to be easier and cheaper to go rent a vehicle and let someone else take care of the maintenance and the oil change and all of that stuff and put the miles on the rental car instead? Think about all of those things as you're planning your trip. Is your vehicle going to have enough space for everyone who is going to go on this trip? If you have a very small 2-door vehicle and you want to take, you have 6 people in your family, that's not going to work. So if you need to rent a vehicle, make sure that that is part of your budget while you're planning your road trip, because you do want everyone to be safe and everyone to be comfortable so that it's more enjoyable during the trip. And think about the goals of your trip. Is the point of the road trip to get from point A to point B? Or is it to see as many things along the way as you possibly can? Again, no right or wrong answer, but keep that in mind as you're planning your trip so that you can make sure that you're planning appropriately. If it's just to get from point A to point B, when you're looking at routes and things like that, you're looking at how to get from point A to point B in the fastest, least miles, least construction, less interstates, however you're planning your trip kind of way. If it is to go see and do all the things, then you're going to be planning your route. It might not be a straight through path. You might be detouring and going a little bit here, there, and everywhere. And again, that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all about what you want to do and see during your road trip. Now, let's talk about packing for a second. You want to make sure that A, you're packing for your trip appropriately, and that B, you're packing your vehicle for your road trip appropriately. Are you going to be doing snacks and drinks in the car? If you are, do you need a cooler? Do you need a bag for just snacks? Do you have a trash can or a trash bag that you're going to be using in your vehicle? Think about those things. What are you going to do to stay entertained in the car? Are you going to be using your phone to play music or podcasts? If you are, do you have a charger? Do you know how to connect your device to your vehicle? Do those kind of things in advance so that you're not frustrated and starting your road trip off with all of that negative energy happening. If you're traveling with kids, what are they going to be doing to keep themselves busy? Are you going to ask them to pack bags to keep themselves busy with books and activity books and things like that? Are they going to be allowed to be on devices? Are you going to print games or purchase games for them to play while they're in the vehicle to help pass time? Think about all of those things and what you're going to need in the vehicle for the actual road trip. Definitely make sure to save space as well for things like a first aid kit for the people and for your vehicle. Do you have jumper cables and things like that on hand if something were to happen to your vehicle? You don't want to be in the middle of nowhere, stuck on the side of the road with kids or a dog or anything like that. And if you are traveling with pets, you need to think about that space in your vehicle while you're packing and planning as well. Do you put your pet in a kennel to travel? Do they just sit on the seat? Do they need to stop? Are they comfortable riding in a vehicle? Do they get car sick? All of these things that you just need to think about while you're planning those road trips, and knowing all of the goals and all of the plans that you and the people that you're traveling with have. It's important to be super open and communicate with everybody involved. Are you going to be doing the driving the whole time? Are you expecting to split that with the other people who are able to drive in the vehicle? Do you not drive in big cities? Do you not drive on expressways? Do you not drive in the mountains? Can you not drive at night or in the rain due to vision issues? All of those things are good to know before you start planning this road trip. And just think about your schedule. Are you going to stick with a schedule while you're traveling? Are you going to get up in the morning, do something wherever you spend the night at, and get on the road at lunchtime while your kids nap in the afternoon to keep them on their nap schedule, and then stop again somewhere in a few hours for them to get out and do another activity and have dinner and spend the night again so that they're staying on a consistent schedule? Are you going to start traveling at 6 or 7 at night after they have dinner and drive all night long while they're sleeping and do something during the day and get to your destination that way? There's a lot of little things to think about and consider during a road trip. They can be so much fun, and they can also be a lot of work and take a lot of planning. So with a little bit of work up front, everybody can have a much more enjoyable experience throughout the whole road trip that you guys will want to do it again. So like I said, I have more over on the blog, alwaysmovingmommy.com. Go check it out. Let me know all of your other tips because I want to learn from everybody else too.